Fucking recording. Such a rock man. Welcome to our latest podcast. We're on number 5, the Filthy Clean Pod. And today our guest is Mark Toovey from Alfresco Cleaning.
Hello, Mark.
In Oxford. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having me today.
No problem. So it's our pleasure. Mark's from Alfresco Exterior Cleaning, I believe it is, isn't it?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I know you've been in business 29 years because I see that on my LinkedIn every sort of 6 hours maybe.
It's something that we like to be proud of.
Yeah.
You know, being in business for 29 years is something surely that we need to...
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's good going, yeah.
I think certainly with 29 years, you just sort of think, wow, what was I doing 29 years ago of like cleaning windows off a ladder? Wow.
Yeah.
How things
So you've been through all the changes, the systems, the
Yeah.
health and safety, stopping a ladder in, and
I've certainly been there, done that, you know, fallen off a ladder in my early days, which is why I hobble when it gets damp and wet.
how'd you
Ankles.
do yourself some damage?
Yeah. So I didn't break both ankles, but I done quite a bit of damage to both ankles. So I know when it's damp outside before I look out because I hobble.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you definitely feel later in life that you probably made a few unwise decisions in younger times.
Okay. So it's probably a good place to start. I mean, it's good to know, like I say, you've been in business 29 years. So how did you get into window clean? Was it window clean you started with? Was it a different cleaning service? And where did you start?
So we started off with our company name as Willie Window Cleaning. Now, why that was like that, I just don't know. I look back now and think, actually, why did we call it that? It's just bizarre. But I started on a Saturday, just cleaning windows on the council estate where I grew up. Started off with a wooden ladder on my shoulder with my Atori brass squeegee and a sponge. Didn't even have an applicator back then. It was literally just an applicator, sponge and a squeegee. Started cleaning windows, and that's literally how it started in 95. And then in March of 96, I walked into my telesales job and said, I've read a book. It was Under 25's Guide to Being an Entrepreneur. And I thought, when I'm 24, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. Walked into my job and said, here's my notice. The following morning at 8 o'clock, the boss walked into my office with a cardboard box and said, put your personal belongings in there. I'll come and collect you in 25 minutes, and walked me out of the office.
Really?
Yeah, and he said, you're on gardening leave, you know, good luck to you, and you've got a month being paid from us to make a good start from the actual business. So, yeah, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah. Fair play.
Well, it sounds
Never look
positive,
back.
though. Yeah.
I keep thinking about coming and giving my notice in, but I don't know where I'll go from here.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for it. But no, so obviously you started with a ladder and obviously a basic level was that. So your journey from there to here, has it been sort of straightforward? Have you had lots of ups and downs? Have you kind of created stuff, gone backwards, or how have you got to where you are today?
We've only got an hour, right?
Yeah, give us the short version.
Yeah, abbreviate.
I think the sort of like the highs are, you know, when you take that first employee on, because all of a sudden you've gone from feeding your own family to then feeding others. Mm-hmm. So that's always a massive sort of like step forward. To then probably your first contract win, doing sort of commercial work, and you sort of think, oh, this is really nice. And then you then buy vans. Then the reach and wash was when I first started, that long ago, that everything was ladder, leather, scrim, even back in those days, and then obviously then squeegee was more and more apparent. And then the reach and wash system came out, and I thought, do you know what? This is the way forward.
Did you jump on that pretty quickly then when they come out, or did it take you a while?
Yeah. So I actually had one of Craig's very first trailer.
Over the top, wasn't it?
Yeah, over the top it was back then. Yeah, that was when they used to be down in Lynham, and they used to do training in a very small office that was on the flight path for the Hercules back then. and you used to have this training session, and all of a sudden Craig would just put his hand up because he could hear the aeroplane, and for about a minute you wouldn't talk because the aeroplane was overhead. That was going back some time back at.
I think it was about 97. I think they started. Was it something like that? And then it kicked off sort of early 2000s.
Yes.
I mean, when I got into it in 2006, it was Ionic then, or Ionics. I saw some of the original systems. I actually nearly bought one myself from another cleaning company. So I'm sure it was about 97 it started. But that was like, for me, the reason I got into it was because of the window cleaning systems. There's no way I would have been going up and down ladders. But I mean, from yourself, did you have a vision then of creating like a bigger company, or was it just sort of a natural progression, or like how did you sort of come to where you come to now?
I think for me back then, I always thought that it was just going to be me and one other type person.
Yeah.
So we probably about 96, 97, because I remember we used to have an R-plated van that we used to tow the trailer with. So that's sort of like back then, that sort of time then, yeah. So I always thought that it was going to be just me and one other. So when we got our system, I probably didn't market it or leverage it in the way that I probably could or should have done. But you know, you live and learn. So we had the trailer system for about a year. That was back when they used to actually have the tank in the back with a Nimbus RO, and then
the backwash system.
We used to have this massive 200-litre container to do the backwash with. You know, so things have certainly changed along since then. But we literally had the trailer, and me and one other, and then we thought, well, actually, hang on a minute. When you're towing a trailer, it's not always that easy. So then I think it was about 2000 that we then had our first van-mounted system from them, and literally have always gone with them ever since.
Yeah. So have you been predominantly a window cleaning company from, say, 2000 to where you are now? I know, obviously, with the Softwash Systems, we were talking about that, but before maybe the Softwash Systems as well, was it just predominantly window cleaning that you were doing, or when did you start bringing in other services and stuff?
I think it would have probably been about 2012 that we started doing what I would class as dilapidation cleaning. So like doing big warehouses, window frame restoration, you know, more for like people that are exiting buildings, that we would like do a lot more cleaning that way. We always had, and we always will have, a window cleaning element within the business, but it's mainly been these add-ons of the window frames, like warehouse cleaning. You know, there's nothing more enjoyable than working in a January and February, working from a scissor lift inside a warehouse when it's absolutely freezing freaking cold outside. You know? But
still be freezing in there, wouldn't it? Warehouse?
Yeah, but it's dry.
Oh, I suppose, geared up. Okay, so you've always had the window cleaning running alongside. I mean, how many window cleaning vans have you actually got now?
So as of today, we have 6 residential and commercial window cleaning vans, and they range from sort of small Citroen Berlingos through to Citroen dispatch size. So, you know, back in the early days, everybody used to have 1,000-litre systems in like Renault Masters, but what we found is that producing our own water, and with the pumps being more dialable, that you don't use quite so much water. So we find a sort of 600-litre tanks like the ideal size for us and our business.
Yeah, I think we took similar because we had 1,000-litre, didn't we? But
yeah.
I don't think it was because we had it in a Renault Master. I think it was because it was leaking more water than anything.
Yeah.
That's when we used to just put them together.
Yeah, so some of the vans we had in the early days were, even the window cleaning poles as well. We just made everything. It was makeshift, wasn't it?
Well, at the end of the day, it was just doing what we could do to get by. You know, it was for me back then. An Ionic system was just like the Rolls Royce, if you like, and it was unachievable. Now obviously that's a different story, because we just need to have a system that's reliable, that, you know, that we don't really get too involved in, and just sort of keep it up. But I'm just saying, 1,000 litres. I remember I had a 1,000-litre lay flat tank in the back of a Transit. It was a BT Transit though, so it could take the weight. and we just had like
Straps,
ratchet straps, but we had it bolted through the chassis. So I don't know if it probably was a death trap, who knows, but it seemed all right at the time. But no, I'm just saying that we had 1,000 litres and we had so many leaks in the back of the van. You'd be driving down the road, it'd be pouring out the back, and you just about get through like one day's work with it. So that was entertaining. But so you got 6 vans, you say now?
Correct,
yeah. Okay, so have you had them for like 6 vans for a long time, or have you built up to that recently, or?
So we've always had a minimum of 2 window cleaning vans. So probably a couple of years ago, we decided to go more against the Softwashing exterior cleaning. So we reduced down our window cleaning side. But in the last 12, 18 months, we've then increased that back up again. There's just a real demand for regular window cleaning.
We love it.
And I think that, turn up, do a great job, and be good, because it's those simple acts that you can do as being a residential window cleaner that massively sets you apart from everybody else. You talk about the systems in the back of the vans. People will buy a 400-litre tank, strap it in, and it's not safe. When you rock up at a customer's house, you pull the side loading door open, you see a nice system in there, and they know that they're actually having a great job done because of the equipment that you're turning up with.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and we've always tried to portray a professional image.
Yeah.
And I do agree to a degree. I do know that like DIY systems, back in obviously we earn a lot more money nowadays than we did when we had them anyway. And I wouldn't want to go through all of that because it was just a pure headache. But I do think I think there's an argument for and against. I know that there's customers out there that probably don't really care so much, and they'll probably want it as cheap as possible, whatever it is. But it's just having your ideal client, and it sounds like you've got your ideal clients if you're going that way, and that's what we want as well, isn't it? It's just we want people that respect that we're constantly trying to innovate and reinvest and move forward. And they're going to, pay our money for it, which obviously we're a lot more expensive than a lot of others, But I think it's just horses for courses, as they say, But so you've got 6 window cleaning vans at the minute. So what was so you got that as your sort of base thing. Now I know you were involved with Softwash Systems with the US from the US. So when did you get involved with all of that, and when have you really sort of used that to propel part of the business off in another direction, or how does that sort of fit in?
So it would have been May 2018, I think it was, that one of my team got sent an invite from Darren from Purple Rhino, Softwash Systems, to go down to one of their open days. So it turned out one of my team at the last minute decided they didn't want to go. So it's like, look, there's 2 tickets, come along, Mark, a couple of days out, we'll have a little bit of a jolly. Met with Darren. Darren is like Marmite. You either like him or you don't, and I absolutely love the guy. I'm very good friends with him, and the actual systems themselves I think are great. They do give you a different element than batch mixing. That at least if you're on a large job and you've got a surface that you're cleaning, you need to adjust the dilution rate, you could at least walk back to the van and make that adjustment. So we've got two exterior cleaning vans, both with Softwash Systems in, with hot water pressure washers as well, because in the UK you just need a little bit of heat to get us through some of the surfaces that we clean.
So you got a bit of heat. How did you get the heat? Where's the heat?
So we actually have a small 2-module Softwash skid. Okay. So blend unit with a rinse, but then we also have a hot water pressure washing unit in the side of the van as well.
Okay, cool. I mean, because like, from my perspective, I was always seeing Softwash, and I was seeing that you were like kind of very jointly with them, so it looked like you were a massive advocate for them,
Yes,
and so how's that sort of been for you for the last sort of 2 or 3 years? Have you because I know obviously that Softwash Systems has gone through a change in the UK, and I believe that there's someone now in Scotland who's now the UK supplier. Is that correct? Yeah. So have you continued going along them lines, or have you how's it been for you for the last sort of 2 or 3 years? Has anything changed for you at all?
So I think for me and Alfresco, the giving back to people, I think that was the biggest thing for me with Softwash Systems, is that They used to run regular like training and events. I would always go down because with the knowledge and experience that I have of their systems, how it works, and what you can actually achieve with using the equipment, I like to be able to give back to people. Now, obviously, it was very sad when I got the phone call from Darren to say, look, I'm no longer going to be trading. So there was a period of time where there was, no real support in the UK. Now, Graham and Nick from Palmer's, they've actually taken the distributorship. I've had many a conversation with them, and I'll support them as well, because I think that the knowledge and experience that I have is invaluable to them, just taking on Softwash Systems as a new entity for them. Yes, they've got a well-established cleaning business, window cleaning themselves, but there's a difference between having the equipment, but also knowing how to use the equipment. I've always been a great advocate for Softwash Systems, and I always will be a great advocate. We've got two systems in the vans. We had 3. We did sell one. Opportunity come up to me to sell one, and I thought, well, in business sometimes you have to look at that opportunity and think, well, actually we've got 3. Do I need 3? No, we'll just keep with 2. So we've got 2 exterior cleaning vans, which is then backed up with our cherry picker that we've got as well.
Cool. Yeah, it's just good to know, because for us, we never really bought into the Software Systems thing, did we?
No.
It was we know we didn't go like full into it, because we started 2020 2019 maybe, to expand our services, and we were looking at the kind of exterior cleaning softwash route. And then I sent 4 or 5 of you to Chris Cloak.
Four of us went to Chris Cloak. Yeah.
So four of the guys went on to Chris Cloak's course for the Softwash System. Softwash System City and Guilds. We sort of dabbled a little bit with Darren, but I don't know. I couldn't get the buy-in. It was like we bought the system from Tom Alga. So we had a second-hand Softwash system. What we found is, I know it was like an older system, but the thing was just massively unreliable. Just couldn't work it all the time. So from my perspective as a business owner, a lot of downtime, a lot of stuff that wasn't getting done. And it just, I don't know, it just seemed too sort of clunky. We didn't like the fact as well that of the drift and spraying and stuff and not being out of control, that element, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you can do a certain amount, but there's still, I'd prefer to sort of go and use a bio on a building or whatever than throw the hypo at it. But it has its place.
Without a doubt, and that's what we found.
We've done some brilliant contracts with a Softwash truck, but unfortunately, you get so far, you get like 3/4 through a massive job, and then a pump would go, or a seal would break, or every job we had, there'd come a point on that job where we'd have to contact somebody to get something, or to help us, or to take it down to RedClean and see if they could work on it. They hated it down there, that truck, because they didn't know
They'd
it.
Close the door when they see you coming.
Pretty much, if they could, they would have done. But I mean, every time I went down there, they're like, they'd see the van pull up and they're like, oh no, here we go again, because they didn't know the system, and they're used to working on the British pressure washers, things like that. So then to use that with different pumps, different connections, they didn't know about the bleach.
But we know as well, though, that wasn't, it wasn't their system to fix, And if the support was there, maybe, but obviously we weren't 100% in it. We were like sort of dipping our toe in to see if it was something that was going to work for us.
And I think that if you'd have actually probably put your whole foot in, and probably had a little bit more training, because I think that there's always, whichever piece of kit you're going to use, whether it's a pressure washer, a window cleaning system, or a soft wash kit, there's always going to be like maintenance issues with it. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of it is down to operator error. Certainly in my experience, we found is that there's always like an end of day process. So if you didn't flush it through correctly and you didn't use the final wash, then obviously all of the connections were starting to be eaten away by the sodium hypochlorite, because ultimately that's what it's designed to do. So there's always elements of the system that are always marginally, what's the word I'm looking for? would break regularly, but if you maintained it, it didn't break as regularly, if that makes sense. We went for a stage personally where we went through pumps like they were going out of fashion.
We've done that.
and ultimately it came down to the fact that the guys weren't actually running final wash through at the end of each day. So I think that it's a great piece of kit as long as it's maintained correctly and used properly as well. And I agree with you, Rory, that there's elements of when you're applying that you do get quite a bit of drift. Now, we actually have an application pole. So if you're doing anything a little bit higher and you need to be a little bit closer, we actually have an application pole. So it uses it uses their fan jet on an extension pole with a 1/2-inch hose. So it's quite meaty. But if you're doing a high level clean and you want it directly there, then it just makes life easier using a pole application. Or you get used to applying, and then you have your bulk rinse of like catching any overspray.
Yeah, that's what we use the fan down onto the side and that as well. But it's just that the duty of care when you're working on a pedestrianised street doing in front of a rendered property and people are walking past it is you have to be careful. That's what I was going to ask evil you. Stuff, isn't it?
I mean, have you had any sort of like real problems with it? Because from our perspective again, and from an employing perspective, we could see the drift that was kind of going on. And my worst nightmare was sending the guys onto like a house where you're in closed confined spaces where you might have someone's washing over there, their car over here, and it was just trying to concentrate that because I've seen that you can squirt it sort of like 10, 15 metres. How can you concentrate that without it drifting off? I mean, have you had any real problems with that?
I think the biggest thing that we learned very, very quickly was to give the guys polyester T-shirts rather than cotton T-shirts. Otherwise, we may as well change the company colours to pink because everything just went pink. Has there been times where we've had overspray on somebody's clothes? I think we've replaced a couple of tops because people don't come out while we're treating, and you always get somebody that then comes out. So I think we've replaced a couple of tops.
So what about things like plants and that? I know you've got plant wash, and I don't really know the science to it, if I'm honest. But I know that you can kill off flower beds and everything else. Have you done anything bad? There's anything bad from that come? The only reason I'm asking this is because there seems to be a lot of people that are vocal out there about kind of the dangers of using an American Softwash system in the UK, and it's just good to know from someone like yourself how just how you've experienced it and if there is any massive pitfalls with it,
I think using any chemical, there's always going to be a risk of the application. I think by using the Softwash Systems element, through the training, they talk about 3 Ds: dilute, divert, and decontaminate. So if you fully hydrate the plants or the landscaping before you start, then you're less likely to actually then have the plant absorb any of the chemical.
Overfeed it before.
Exactly, And then by using the plant wash, that obviously then neutralises sodium hypochlorite, but then reintroduces the aerobic bacteria back into the soil, which means then you're less likely to have any we class it as long-term damage.
We've been all right. We've not had any problems like that. I mean, we had one guy, I actually said it on the last podcast, that was from the buyer side though. Thought that we killed his tomato plants, but it turned out with sort of further investigations, it wasn't us. But as far as the hypo is concerned, the only problem I can remember, we'd done a cladding clean in Luton a little while ago, and we were doing the back of shops, like the front of it was a run of shops. We were doing the back, everything was coned out, and the ladies decided to not wait for us or say anything to us. We're on the building. She just walked straight in under the barrier and into the back door of the shop. She came out about 10 minutes later. All the back of her hoodie was all pink. Run down the back of her hoodie. But we'd coned it out. If she would have just said, I'm going in, we could have rinsed it down and made it safe for her.
We've had situations where we've actually been on a commercial building, Harris fenced the back of the building off to make a safe zone. And literally this guy's pulled the Harris fencing away and walked through. Now, I'm not really a physical person, but I literally gripped this guy by the arm and I walked him back.
Yeah.
And he goes, but I always walk this way. I've worked in here for 5 years and I always walk through this way. But did you not see the Harris fencing that you moved that says exterior cleaning, please use the alternative route? And there's directions for you to walk around the other side of the building. oh no, you didn't see that. But you're always going to have stupid people.
Oh yeah.
No matter what you do, there's always going to be a person that will always not take any notice of your safe zone. I think the most important thing for us when we're applying is making sure somebody's on the bulk rinse. So if there is any drift, you're literally diluting and bringing it straight down.
Yeah.
And that does work, does it?
Well, it does.
Saying that, I mean, I've done that. I was doing the bulk rinse when Paul was bleaching the front of Luton, and there were some guys that were wanting to open up their shop. They wouldn't wait. They couldn't wait that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No, they couldn't wait. So they've opened up the shop anyway. I'm fanning off the off spray, and yeah, one of the guys still managed to get some pink on his. Had a Nike tracksuit on, but he managed to get a bit of pink down the side of his tracksuit. But again, we've already explained to them. We'd sent letters out saying that we were going to be working till such and such time. Please leave us to do our work. And no, they wanted to do it their way. And yeah, he ended up with a pink arm because of it. So
at the end of the day, all you can do is do what's reasonably practicable
to
manage the situation. And I think that it's like anything, do you have damage and issues letting somebody use a jet washer that doesn't really know what they're doing with it? It's a bit like a Softwash system. If you know what you're doing with it and you work it correctly, then it can have fantastic results.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, we've had some brilliant results with it. I mean, I remember the first time I used it, it was a warehouse cladding job, and there was 4 of us went to do it. So I took a massive section, and 3 lads took the other section with water-fed pole.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I'd done the course already. I knew what to do, but I hadn't actually seen it in action. And I sprayed the side of this building, and the guys were cracking on with the poles down there. Literally 10 minutes on the building, rinsed it off with a cannon. That was my section done. They're still down there.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's definitely has its place on big jobs like that anyway. And then obviously there's no pedestrians there, so you're all cordoned off. You got a safe place to work, and you just fire.
You had that job this weekend, didn't you? So was it 14 warehouses?
14 industrial
so
units.
they were able to concentrate on the sides and the back while they were open, because obviously you could make them safe zones. But then over the weekend, when the site was shut down, that's when you done it. But when we looked at the results, because we've obviously done water-fed pole before on cladding, it was just, you smashed it out, didn't you?
Managed to do, we've done 10 fronts of industrial units in the one day.
Yeah.
When I got there in the morning, I looked at it, and the team leader, Paul, that had previously been on the job down there during the week, had said to me, we'll get this done in 2 days. He said, like the fronts and the pathway. And I got there, I pulled up and looked at it, and I thought, really? 2 days, yeah? And anyway, like I say, we got down to Unit 10. We started at Unit 1, got all the way down to Unit 10 by about 2 o'clock. And it looked brilliant.
The results were fantastic.
Yeah. And it was, we put the fan jets on the pole, as I said, and you had a big sort of canopy bit coming out of the roof of the building, probably about maybe half a metre, a little bit longer. And Paul was spraying it with the fan jets, and the black was just coming straight off. There was no real need to go over it with a pole or anything afterwards. It just completed the clean for us.
I think that's the good thing with the Softwash. Whether you use Softwash or Softwash Systems, it's about the scrub versus non-scrub cleaning process. And making sure that alkaline dilution rate is right, so then it hits the surface and you literally just see it emulsify and just run down. There's nothing more rewarding than
it's nice.
Just hitting it with the chemical and just see it run down. You just sort of think that's the right dilution rate, and this is going to work really, really well.
It was again the place we went to when I met Darren in Kent. We had 3 guys again on water-fed pole. They were doing the front of the was it warehouses, or it was like a show carpet place or whatever?
Yeah, like an industrial.
Retail units.
Yeah, retail park.
So I took the back end, so there was no windows or anything there. It was just pure cladding. So the area I had was massive in comparison to what the other lads had. Actually, I think there was four of them on the windows and on the front of the building. And literally a couple of sprays, like I do a certain amount of, maybe, I don't know, 15 foot, leave that and then rinse that bit down while I'm doing the next bit. But I completed that whole area while the guys are still on like the first little part of theirs, just with no scrubbing at all, just all that. And then I think that's when we sort of thought, this is
it definitely has its place, doesn't it? And that's the thing. We just couldn't buy in 100%. We just wasn't there. And I know Darren was trying to get us down and get us on different courses and stuff, but Yeah, from my perspective as well, like from a business perspective, I was looking at the prices of them systems as well, and I was thinking that's a lot of money, you know, and
It is, yeah.
and I just couldn't see it, I couldn't buy into it. But yeah, it's just good to hear your side of the story, because obviously from our perspective, Rory's obviously got much more knowledge than I have using it, because I've never even used them. But yeah, from a business perspective, it just didn't make any sense, you know. But at the same time, I also wanted to make sure the guys were safe. Because that's the other thing from my perspective, is making sure that what we're doing is correct. And with the Softwash, I can't remember what it's called. It's the City and Guild Softwash system called. So whatever
we done with City and Guilds.
It was just much more concentrated, and the support was great. Chris Cloak was brilliant.
Yeah.
So we were just much more we went that way, you know. And yeah, it's been great for us going that way, hasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was hard because obviously I'd done both courses.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit like, and it just seemed, I don't know, for whatever reason, sitting guilds with Chris Cloak just kind of, I sort of swayed more that way. Having said that, as I said, we've had some really big jobs where Chris Cloak's ways wouldn't have worked for us. We've had to go for the hypo route, you know.
But I think the biggest thing as well was the Americanization of Softwash Systems.
Yeah.
If they would have like made that more UK friendly,
yeah.
and it was much more around UK safety stuff, and you know
that 20-hour course would have been a 10-hour course had they have removed a few bits of. I mean, some of the questions at the end of that,
Yeah.
they're asking me about what insurance I'd need in particular states of America, and I'm like, well, I've got to answer this to get on to the next question.
Yeah.
Like, well,
It's definitely Americanized. You know, we have DVSA, is it, where Department of Vehicle Standards, whatever it's called. So we have that in the UK, where they have the DOT in America. Now, you know, there's a lot of change between what we do in this country and what they do in their country. You know, people don't realise that there's not an MOT test in America every year, like there is in the UK.
yeah.
So, you know, so they could run a vehicle for 5 years, and you only have to do a MOT on it when you sell it. That's obviously in certain states. So you know, it's just understanding how they do it there and how we do it here, and try and make the best of implementing our knowledge into using.
I definitely think it should be UK based. I mean, because we have a different climate as well, so we're much more damp. You know, much more of a moss problem and everything else.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's.
Sorry, I was just going to say a lot of from doing the course, watching the videos on the course, you're not seeing moss on roofs, are you? You're just seeing dirt.
Yeah, I think so one of the guys when I first started in Softwash Systems was Brandon Vaughan, and he used to live in, I want to say, Oregon, where that's also quite damp. So they used to have a similar type of moss on the roof that we get in the UK. But because Softwash Systems are mainly in Florida, where there's not a huge amount, you just get the build-up of like
Carbon stain, yeah.
Which Cleoclaptus magma is like the black staining on roofs. And then you have the homeowners association. So most homeowners association in America say that you have to have your house in a clean condition, where we don't have that in the UK. And I think that any exterior cleaning company would be a lot busier if we had a homeowners association
of course. If it
here
was
in
mandatory
the UK.
to have your
Exactly, So I think that, you know, that would work well for any company in the UK if people said, well, actually, you can't have a dirty roof. It would be perfect, because I'm sure that we've all come across roofs that have been an absolute blanket of moss. You know, we did a barn conversion a few years back, and we had a cubic meter hippo bag that was brimmed to the full with the moss that we took off that roof. Now you think how much weight was actually on that roof. You know, where in Florida it would just be a little bit of like dark staining, and they just then go and apply, rinse, job done. Yeah. Where for us, it's almost what we class as a restoration clean, because you're getting all of that dirt and grime off. Then you're actually then treating it.
So with so when you say you're treating that, because this is the other thing I could never get my head around, is obviously you're not just soft washing, you are, I don't know if you class it as pressure washing, steam, high temperature, low pressure. You know, we can go on about that one. You know,
that's a podcast all on its own.
Without a doubt. I mean, for me, I still say it's steam because the temperature of water above is 100 degrees or 110 degrees, it turns to steam. So we're using water that's more than that. So therefore, there is a big element of steam. It's definitely softer. So we class it as steam, but I think you class it as high temperature, low pressure. Is that the route you've gone?
Yeah, we just say hot water pressure washing because, you know, we run generally about 900,000 PSI, normally 60 to 80 degree hot water. And we find that's on most roofs is enough to
Have you tested that then, the temperature? Because I know we're running the temperature a lot higher than that, I believe. You know,
you're just using diesel.
Are we
wasting fuel? Yeah.
Okay.
Just try it.
For what reason? I don't get what you mean though. So
what by not having it at 120 degrees?
Yeah. As not having it so hot, because obviously for me, again, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, but if you're using a certain amount of water and it's coming out at a higher temperature, then obviously that's evaporating as soon as it's hitting the surface. So therefore, it's a much softer way of cleaning a roof tile, surely, than having it at a lower temperature with more water, because obviously it's not turning itself into steam. Is that not correct?
So, again, it's how you want to interpret that. So we run 15 litres a minute, about 60 to 80 degree hot water. Yeah, and we're running 15 litres a minute, about 900 PSI. So for us, that's enough to clean the roof. Now, if you had a roof tile that somebody wanted to clean but not soft wash, and they wanted to have then that longevity, we would then run 100 degree plus, because the superheated water would then actually attack the microbes of the moss that's still within the tile. Because you're using superheated water, you're actually killing that microbe off with your cleaning pass. But if you're then doing a clean and then a treat, personally, my opinion, don't go so high on the heat. Use the heat to help with the gentle cleaning, and then soft wash it afterwards to then make sure that you get a complete kill ratio on all of the microbes.
It's just, I mean, we come across properties sometimes where we're using the temperatures that Steve just said, and there's still areas with lichen in it that just doesn't want to lift, or black spot that doesn't want to lift, and you think that if the temperature could go up a little bit more, then maybe it would cut through it. So I don't know. When we sell the roof clean, it's the steam side of things is to have a brand new sparkling roof. So they want that sort of real deep clean straight away. They don't want to see little flecks of lichen and whatever else there. So I don't know. But
for me as well, though, that then classes it as though you're pressure washing roofs, is it not? And I know that again, there's another argument for that. You know, because
I think there's a difference between high pressure. So most van mounted systems will run up to 3,500 PSI, where we're probably only about 900 to 1,000 PSI. So it's not as harsh. Okay. So, you know, the whole Softwash Systems thing was like, oh, you don't pressure wash roofs, but they sell you a Softwash skid with a Honda GX390 on the back. You know, because that's in the UK, there's certainly a need to get all of that dirt and grime off the roof before you then use treat it.
That's what I was going to ask you, is that, you can't just simply soft wash a roof like a lot, can you? You know, it's you need to cut through it first to be able to then apply the chemical, you know. So it sort of throws it out a bit, because it's not really
twice the job, isn't it?
And it's not really soft wash, is it? Because you're using a pressure washer as well. So you know, it's it's. How do I say that nicely?
Well, it's all,
not correct. You know?
It's like one person say it's not, one person say it is. I mean, I've been here. It's not pressure washing. It is pressure washing. It's not pressure washing since we started doing it. So,
of course, but we, from our perspective, the way we've always done it is, like we say, whether it costs us diesel or not, we'd rather do it that way and know that we're cleaning the softest way possible on each surface. And as Rory says, to kill off as much as we can. Obviously, we use biocide. We never use bleach on a roof. We found that biocide, you know, by doing that, then applying a biocide, I mean, you're going out with Dave soon to look at some of the roofs we've done 4 years ago, whatever. We offer a 4-year guarantee. you've seen some of the roofs we've done 4 years ago, and they're still looking pretty good, aren't they? They're maybe a little bit of green stain just starting to come in, but there's no moss or anything like that. So it's I'm just saying that's the method we use, and we use that if it is a steam clean route that they want, then that's exactly what we do. We do exactly the same on every roof. The only time we won't necessarily do so much is if the roof looks delicate. But then I've seen that roof they're working on this week, and some of them tiles look really delicate.
They've actually been they're reclaimed, or not reclaimed, they're reused tiles. So they've had some work done on the house. The whole roof came off. They put them back on again. So it's a bit more structurally sound than
an old roof.
The old roof, yeah. So it's the old tiles, but they've pinned them as well. So every 5 tiles, they're compact. You know, they're not just like rickety like they would be in the sort of 60s roof. So they can take a little bit of pressure on there.
Because the results look fantastic, but the tiles don't look so good.
They're like that before, you know. They're just all sort of like the old rustic look on the roof, you know, the sort of 60s, 70s look. Okay. But yeah, it's sometimes like back early on when I was going out quoting the roofs. If I saw a roof like that, I wouldn't have put steam on it. I'd have said no, we'll do a scrape and a treat, a gentle scrape, treat the rest of it away. But obviously, we found over time we can actually put steam onto the roof as long as you're holding the pole at a decent distance. It's still doing the clean and it's not damaging anything.
And that all comes through like knowledge and experience,
doesn't
it? You know, I think that a lot of people think that we suddenly become experts in what we do, but we don't. That knowledge and experience is built up over a number of years.
And through a few mistakes.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's the important thing. Have we made mistakes? More than I'd like, but we learn from that, you know. And I think, you know, again with the podcast is that we talk about all the success that we do and things that we've done, but we don't always talk about, you know, the times when we've caused, you know, I don't know, thousands of pounds worth of damage, you know, that we try and like, no, we didn't do that. Actually, do you know what?
We are open. We're very open.
Yeah, and sometimes too much, I think.
But thankfully, we haven't really had that much. We haven't done anything like. Can you think of anything?
Smashed windows. There's like one of the guys. It weren't too long ago actually. He's gone to close a bathroom window with his pole. Yeah. The brush head, the clamp wasn't down all the way, so the brush head span and smashed the window. So we've had that. I've actually put the back of a pole through next door neighbour's pane glass window.
About roof damage or anything?
Roof damage? No, we said this on the last podcast as well. One time we had a guy that tried to accuse us of flooding his bathroom.
Right.
And he tried to hold money. It was the biggest, at the time, it was the biggest job we'd done. Beautiful place. The guy was a car dealer or something. He had loads of fancy cars around there. Swimming pool house the size of probably about 4 of the flats in the block I live in. Yeah. Because of this, he tried to hold back a certain amount of money. We got the insurers involved. They've gone round there and inspected, and it turns out there was something wrong with a pipe on the inside of his bathroom that had caused the leakage. But obviously, and it was that we had that really serious.
That's what caused it, wasn't it? It was we had a massive storm, and just so happened that the day after this leak appeared, and there was nothing to do with that. It was us, you know.
Yeah, so automatically, we got blamed for it until we got cleared by the insurers anyway. But that's the only sort of big thing that could have been costly, I suppose. Other than that, it's just the odd window, or I mean, back when we were climbing a gate years ago, you might have broke a gate on the way over or something. But never anything that couldn't be either
not big that we've had. I don't think. I mean,
I think we can trump that. We managed to put a cherry picker basket through 3 or 4 panes of glass on quite a prestigious office building in Oxford that caused us a few issues. Let's just say that.
At least you didn't have to clean the windows.
Yeah. I think it actually took. I think it was over 12 months before they actually replaced the bits of glass, because the glass had to be specially made in Spain and then shipped over, and it just was, touch wood. Obviously, insurance, picked up on that, but it wasn't nice at the time to then.
How did it actually happen then? How did a basket go through the window?
So it's quite a big project. So we had 2 machines on site. We had our own cherry picker and a hired-in self-propelled. On our machine, one it goes up, and on the other higher machine, that was down. So because they were jumping in between two machines, it was literally operator error. Went to go up, ended up going down into the building, and literally broke. I think it was 3 or 4 panes in the end, which it wasn't ideal. The guys were fine. Obviously, just a little bit shook up. I had to take them to Marks and Spencer's and get them some new pants. But it's thankfully it was a small incident. Implications were quite big, but it was a small incident that everybody walked away from. And I think that was the most.
That is the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That definitely from an employing perspective, it's first and foremost, it's just trying to minimise risk. And when accidents do happen, thankfully we've had nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? But I'm always very conscious of it, especially having lads out there and everything else. So that doesn't sound good, but at least, like I say, everyone come away unscathed. So
in 29 years, that's been the only sort of like major insurance claim that we've had, apart from an odd van here and there. But you're just sort of thankful that actually everybody's okay, and the insurance company picked up on it.
Yeah, because we're always trying to train our guys, and because that was always a nervous thing for me. And again, I've said this on the last podcast about sending employees out there, and we spoke about it earlier about, and you just said there about the years of experience you take to like clean a roof. So, we started 4 years ago, and if I'm honest, we just started with scrape and treat, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't want to steam clean, didn't want to do anything like that, get comfortable with the scraping part first. So we've probably done that for about a year without steaming anything.
Yeah. Steam weren't. Yeah, even when I was out quoting, steam was never an option, was it?
Yeah.
At first, it just sort of came into play a little bit later on.
So we started with that because we thought it was the easiest way to do it. Get lads trained up on towers, do that part, then obviously bio. There was a few of the early roofs that needed rebioing because we didn't have a dosatron.
Yeah, we were batch mixing.
Yeah.
So you'd go and I'd go and inspect them sort of 3-4 months later, and you could see a couple of areas that hadn't taken, and it was just where most of your chemical would be at the bottom of your drum or whatever you were using. So it was never spread evenly, was it? So we learned that, but we put them all right as well. So anything. We was always quite good like that. We'd do a roof, and I'd go back and I'd inspect it month 1, month 2, month 3, and get progress photos. And
But this is what we're talking about. Is so even when we've trained the lads, we've offered this service, but we just want to make sure we get it right. So even at them early stages, we made lots of. It was only silly mistakes. It was never costly mistakes. Yeah. But as Rory said, he would stay on top of it, and then at our expense, we'd go and send someone back out, rebio it, and then thankfully that's when they've obviously taken that the chemicals taken, and then it's been good from there. But it's just, I think that's the disheartening thing is when, especially when it comes to roof cleaning stuff like that, like window cleaning, we're seeing loads more window cleaners now, spotless waters that have popped up, and everyone can be a window cleaner with a tank and a pump and a pole, So even like for my drive home, I always see different window cleaners. Like, who the hell's that? But when it comes to the roof cleaning side of things, you've got to go and get some training or get some right advice, because it is difficult. It can, and you've just got to know the pitfalls and stuff like that. And like you say, it's the years of experience that set you apart from the competitors, really, because that's why you can do it correctly.
I think any business with employees, you've got to have a training program, and I think it's really important, that you take what I've learned, and we put our own training scheme together for new employees. So then it's never a case of like, well, just follow me and do what I do. There is a structure of training that they follow. Again, you talked about the Softwash Systems like exam at the end of it. We're not quite like that. It's a case of like follow the training program. At the end of it, we then do a proficiency test and say, right, okay, go out with the system, set it up. This is the surface we're going to work on, so they can then dial in the correct dilution rates. So then you do get that consistency. I'm sort of quite lucky. My brother is probably very much similar to you, Rory, that he's the one that's like out doing some of the work, making sure standards are kept high, and again, we do a guarantee, and even if it's past the guarantee time, sometimes it's easier just to go and retreat. We can't call them hospital jobs. So if we go and see a customer and say, well, look, do you know what we do? You're outside the sort of like the guarantee period, but we're going to come and we're going to treat it. but you might only get a couple of hours notice. And literally, when the guys have finished one day, right, we've got a hospital job on the board, and we'll literally call in, and then we'll just do the retreatment. Customer loves it, and that is almost priceless, because customers feel as if you've gone above and beyond.
Yeah, good reviews and
exactly, yeah.
Well, yeah, we do try to do that. I mean, we're only really coming to. I mean, we've definitely gone past our 4-year, because we're in 2025 now. Started this in 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gone past some of our guarantees now, and if I'm honest, I've been saying to the sales staff, get on the phone and try and sell them bio. So
yeah, exactly, yeah, because you're doing a maintenance treatment.
Yeah, it's going to be nowhere near. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like I say, a few hours and a bit of chemical cost, and you're there. So So what's in the future then for Alfresco? Where do you want to go? Is there goals that you want to meet? Are you looking to build, expand, or are you looking to cut back, or what's the future look like for us?
So we're recording this today on a Tuesday.
Here we are, yeah.
So I don't take any appointments on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So part of my remit within Alfresco is I can make sure that I do not do anything external on a Tuesday and Thursday. So if I come to work, I can come to work. If I don't, then I don't need to. So it gives me that freedom. So I'm 53 now. So in 5 years' time, I only want to be working 1 day a week. So the plan for us is to have a team that we can just leave doing what they need to do. Sarah, that works for me in the office, she started 10 years ago. We've now made her managing director. So she has really stepped up with the day-to-day running of the business. So that works really, really well. My brother Nick deals with predominantly most of the site surveys, home assessments that we do. So again, I'm more of the marketing man, and once I've got all of that running smoothly, then I can pretty much semi-retire.
Sounds like a plan.
So, I've got to duck out.
Cool.
Nice to see you, Rory.
Yeah,
We'll keep this bit in. See you later, Rory.
Yeah.
see you later. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Good luck.
It's okay, no worries. So, so obviously, that sounds like a plan. I mean, so have you got any, are you looking to keep the business where it is now to try and peel yourself out of it, or are you looking to try and expand a little bit and then peel yourself out of it? I mean,
I think for us, my ideal point would be to have 10 window cleaning vans, with the 2 exterior cleaning vans, with the cherry picker, and possibly a smaller exterior cleaning vans just to do these touch-ups and these warranty claims, just so then you've then got the ability that you're not pulling a van off of the road to do like paid work, that you've actually got like almost like a warranty van to go out and do the smaller jobs, or even like a little bit of render, somebody's driveway patio, that you can then send just a single crew out to. So that would be, in an ideal world, get to that point and then slowly step back, or somebody might want to come along and offer to buy the business, and I'd be off like a shot.
okay. Save my number. But no.
Do you need an Oxford branch then?
Well, it's only an hour from us. I mean, at the moment we go to Cambridge, which is an hour from us.
Yeah.
But it's only purely because we bought some work where some out there. So I'm not sure some of the lads really like going out there, but we have got some we've got some work out there, so we go there. But yeah, I mean, we're sort of going over towards Oxford. It is a little bit far, being an hour, but yeah, I don't know. It just depends where we all go, really, because if we keep expanding and stuff, then who's to say we wouldn't have like a satellite office or something like that, you know? So yeah, like I say, for us, we just need to keep moving forward, and we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I've been approached a couple of times in the last 2 weeks for guys that want to sell their businesses.
Okay.
So I've been looking at them, but one of them we're not going to look at because it's predominantly commercial cleaning, and I don't really want to get involved in that. So as much as I think it would be good to maybe be able to build on top of that and have some good connections on the window cleaning front, it just isn't right for us. We don't really want to go that route. So, but no, we're I'm definitely open to looking at things, and you know, for us, you know, anything from sort of 500,000 upwards would be great, because I've bought out loads of smaller window cleaning rounds on the journey, but never something like that where, you know, it's a good established business, and it would be fantastic to look at something like that. So I'm not trying to sell you the dream, but I'm just saying that you said it, so I'll mention it. But
everything's got a price on it.
Everything's got a price, but we'll look at everything, and like we were talking about earlier, you know, we're always playing around with marketing and different things, and even services. You know, we're looking at we're actually just, because we've got a couple of commercial clients that we've been speaking about grounds maintenance, and we've got one of our guys, well, two of our guys actually at work with us are have been landscape gardeners for a long time, so we're actually starting to look at that. But we might only find that we try it for 6 months and it's not for us. We don't know, you know. So we try not to be a jack of all trades and try to do things correctly if we've got the right guys. But at the same time, it's not. We won't just do this, and this. So
what I found over the years is that, probably very much similar, that you have an opportunity and you think, well, actually we could service that for that client. The reality is, concentrate on one thing.
Well,
because you know what happens, you sort of take these sort of like contracts on, whether it's some grounds maintenance, and then all of a sudden you're taking people away from your window cleaning and exterior cleaning to do a little bit of grass cutting.
Well, that obviously it's all down to the figures,
exactly,
you know, and that's, and again, like I say, we're looking at it. We've gone through. We've not actually secured it, but we're looking at it, and we're going to go through with it. So, what I'm saying, go through with it. I'm just saying, if it works out, you know, then we'll look at it. But I understand what you're saying. I think the beauty that we have is, because we have got the structure that we've got. It's and if we've got the right people to do it, I don't think it's much drama to just try it. Now, we've done stuff before, like we've done wheelie bin cleaning for a while.
All right.
Never again. But no, it's just. But I actually sold that to a guy called Andy, and he actually runs it as Red Wheelie Bin Cleaning still locally. But just for us, it was just too many customers for not a lot of money, very dirty work. And you just couldn't hit the targets we could hit with exterior cleaning. So, you know, we run it for about 6 months, and then we sold it as a going concern. Actually, we've done all right out of it, if I'm honest. Got a bit of money for it, and that was that. But I don't know. Maybe it's because of the entrepreneur in me. I like to try little things, but I also know that I can't really go off on massive tangents because it will create drama for everyone. But I do know where you're coming from. But we try to do it in a systematic way where if we're trying something, it's not going to cause us too much drama within that. So I won't go hell for leather at that while we're doing this, and this. It will just be a simple case of dip your toe in it a little bit, see where it goes, and if there's a bit of momentum with it, then we'll do it. But it was the same with roof cleaning. You know, we started that, we didn't know how it was going to go, you know, and it went okay. So, you know, that's a part of the business. It is where it is. But no, I understand where you're saying, because you can spread yourself too thinly as well, you know.
And I think it's, all I'm trying to say is that after this time of doing what I've been doing, it's just knowing where you see an opportunity, you can leverage it, absolutely look at it, but just be mindful, you know, maybe not for yourself, maybe for the people that are listening that are still on an early path within their business, that they're trying to grab all the opportunities that are there, and the reality is it's not ideal. You know, we used to do office cleaning, and we used to specialise in nurseries, and for a period of time worked really well, but all of a sudden things didn't start working out, and then it just became a nightmare. So we sort of binned all of that side off.
I think that's totally true, because when I started, it was literally window cleaning, and then at some point I bought a gutter vac 3 or 4 years down the line, and you know, and I know now a lot of guys become more exterior cleaners as opposed to window cleaning. But I see them pop up. I see, you know, a business pop up and they're offering 15 services within the first 3 months. How you haven't got the knowledge, you haven't got the equipment, you haven't, you know, but it's more than the knowledge than anything, you know. And like you say, it's just concentrate on one thing. And that's what I'd done for years, was just window cleaning, and then just built and developed from there. But we try to be a bit more strategic about it. In terms of, it's not just a case of, right, today we're now cutting lawns, you know, it's, there's who can we do it what experience has he had? Okay, cool. So we've got the people that can service it. We've got this thing come up. We'll have a look at it, and if it's something that can make us good profit, then we'll do it. But if it's something that has got no profit in it, it will be gone sooner than anything. So so it's been great to talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's all good. We do have to wrap up because we only have about an hour's worth of equipment time. So I hope you feel like we've covered some good ground.
I think it's it's about, for me, sharing a little bit more knowledge and understanding that there's lots of companies out there that do what we do. I think we're only an hour away from each other, so our paths will cross. I think it's about having that. What am I trying to say?
I don't know. It'll come.
Yeah, I haven't got time for that. I think it's for me. It's about the sort of like the camaraderie of knowing. Well, actually, you guys are there. We're here. We all piss in the same pond. But I think it's having the respect for each other that's there. Because I'd rather have somebody that I can call upon and say, I've got this job. It's too big for us, or we can't cope with it. Do we want to work together, or can you take it on? So I think it's better to know people, have respect for them, and know that they're there for you as much as I'm there for them if they've got a question.
It is. It's just a mutual respect thing. I mean, as I've clearly said on other podcasts, I mean, there's one particular guy in St Neots who's chased some of my lads down. He's offered them out. He's an absolute idiot, and I'm not going to do anything with him because of his general attitude. But and I'm not saying he wants to. It's down to him how he wants to conduct business. But like you say, for me as well, it is just having sort of mutual respect. We are all. I mean, obviously you have camaraderie. It's and I love it. I'm a competitive person as well. So if I'm not going to say I can get one over on you and stamp on you, but of course, if there's something that's come up and I've got it, I'm like, great. It invigorates me. It makes me want to go. It encourages me to do more. But at the same time, like you say, it's better to get on with people than not to get on with people. If at any point the paths do cross and we can help each other out, it's all good. You don't need to be at loggerheads with people. It's and like you say, you're 53, I'm 47, and I feel like I'm getting to that stage as well. And I haven't got the fight in me as much as what I used to. It's.
I think when you hit 50, I think things in life just become important in a different way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I think that it's a case of, well, actually, there's a big wide world out there.
Yeah, that's very true. But it's but no, like I say, it's been great having you on today, and it's actually good to meet you. I mean, I've seen your videos, we've obviously messaged a bit, and it's just good to actually connect with you properly and find out what you like. And it's been great, So thank you very much for coming over.
No problem, thank you.
All good. So just going to wrap up now. I hope you enjoyed that, and that was the Filthy Clean Pod number 5, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye.